Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Winning Women Talk Show. I'm your host, Regina Shearer, and I'm so excited to be with you this evening as you join us again for another episode of the Winning Women Talk Show. If you are a regular viewer or listener, I want to thank you. And as you know, each week we feature a woman from a different walk of life sharing her journey to success. And success isn't necessarily making millions of dollars. Success is doing that something that you're passionate about, that you're driven about, and that fulfills you and satisfies you in life. And so I hope that as you have been viewing and listening to all of these different women, that their stories have inspired you, motivated you, given you some information or even helpful advice to make your dreams come true as well. Now, as you are listening and watching, you know that every week we invite you to participate. So you are invited to call in with any questions or any comments that you have for our guest. And if you have your pens and pencils ready or your digital devices to enter this number, you can call us by calling 781-384-5587. That's 781-384-5587. Or you can email us, and that's Regina at rgbinternetradio.com. I'll say it again, Regina, and you can see my name on the screen at rgbinternetradio.com. Today, our guest is LaShonda Gatson. LaShonda is the founder and CEO of LRG Model Agency, which is she is also a hair and makeup artist, interior designer, talent developer, and creative entrepreneur. She has more than 25 years of experience in all these fields of expertise, and she specializes in scouting, developing, and representing diverse models and talent for editorial, commercial, and runway opportunities. So, all you models out there, pay attention tonight. She blends her artistry with entrepreneurship that has celebrated culture and representation for film, TV, editorial, red carpets, music videos, international campaigns, and on and on. Her work has included uh, such companies as Target, Walmart, Sally Beauty Supply, Disney, and includes being doing makeup and hair artistry for movies and TV shows such as Brewster's Million Holiday, Abbott Elementary, Netflix's Astronomy Club, and so many others. I would love to tell you everything. I'm just giving you some highlights. It's also her work has also been featured in magazines such as Vogue Italia, Teen Vogue, Vanity Fair, Harper's Bazaar, Essence. It's been on BET, CNN, and on, as I said before. She's a three-time recipient of the International Bang Style Supreme Hairstylist Award and was most creative artist for California Orange County Fashion Week. And so the rest she's going to tell you herself, but right now, let's just all say welcome, LaShonda, to the Winning Women Talk Show.
Well, that was an amazing introduction, Regina. Thank you so much.
So, LaShonda, I don't know what happened, but your picture is displaying
It is.
sideways.
When you came back, I was to the side. I noticed
I
that.
know, and we have to figure out what happened because I'm hoping that our engineers can get you straightened out there because otherwise everyone's going to have to watch the
Y-
show
Including
like
me.
including you.
Mm.
I know. So we apologize to those of you viewing and to our guest, LaShonda, for whatever is going on here. But we're going to hope that our um, engineers can settle this matter and get all of this straightened out. And so while we're trying to do that, we're going to try to do some shifts. And I see them shifting screens and trying different things to see if we can straighten out this picture that LaShonda is in. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take time right now for one of our sponsors of this show and see if we. Oh, Lashonda, the message is, would you mind going out and coming back in?
Sure.
Okay. So Lashonda's going to come back and join us in a minute. But as I said, we're going to take a quick break for one of our sponsors of this show. So don't go too far because both Lashonda and I will be right back.
Do you know how many people are harmed by domestic violence every day? Every minute, 20 people are physically abused by an intimate partner. Do you know what the leading cause of homelessness is for women? Domestic violence. Do you know how domestic violence ends? Through your help. If you know someone who needs help from abuse, please call Portal to Hope at 781-338-7678. Portal to Hope is a survivor-driven team seeking to provide shelter, safety, and a pathway to gaining an abuse-free life. Call Portal to Hope at 781-338-7678. We are here to help.
And we are back, and LaShawn is straight up. And so, again, we apologize for that technical difficulty, but we are so glad to have you with us this evening. And I know that we are all excited about hearing about this journey that you've taken because you are doing so many things that the average person is usually somehow involved in. We look through magazines, we see models, we see people modeling and representing different companies like Target and Walmart and others, and some of these people are the product of your training, your work with them, your artistry. But how did all this start? Tell us a little bit about you and your background and everything so we can get a sense of who LaShonda Gatson is.
So, my name is Lashanda. I often tell people it rhymes with panda so they can remember
Okay.
that. I am from a town called Clarksville, Tennessee. I started doing hair in, I think it was no, it was 1990 something. And no, 1997, I became a licensed cosmetologist. And I just worked in the salon for um, about 7 years there. And then I end up moving so I worked there, I got my skill base there. Um, and I ended up going to Atlanta in 2002 to interior design school. And kept doing work in Atlanta, but Atlanta grew me up a lot. That's where I started working with more like celebrities, but I would work in like the gospel industry. So I would do like the trumpet awards and the Stellar Awards and work on gospel artists and things like that. And so that's where I got started.
Okay. So now as a child, were you going around braiding people's hair, styling their hair, your baby dolls or what? Where did this I mean, when did you know this was something you really loved doing?
Well, yes. So I did. I would style all of my doll's hair, and I was the girl with the Christy doll. You remember the doll, the head with the shoulder? She was my favorite. So I would style her, but my grandmother would do everyone's hair. So I grew up watching her do. She would press everyone's hair in the neighborhood and the people in my family.
Mhm.
And so I have a lot of cousins and they have a lot of hair. And so I'll watch her do that. And so I was inspired by her. But then also my mother, she was a braider. And so she would braid all of the kids' hair in the neighborhood or my cousin's hair.
Mhm.
And so she taught me how to braid when I was really young, probably 6 or 7. And
Wow.
so I started braiding like my doll's hair. Then just watching her, and she would braid my hair and put beads on, and I get to
Oh,
play in the bow box and with all the beads and regular black girl experience growing up. But that's where my inspiration came from.
okay. So
Yeah.
eventually, all your cousins were had you braiding their hair or styling their hair. I can imagine. It's nice to have family who can do
It
things like
is.
that.
It
So,
is.
you went to cosmetology school in Atlanta,
No,
and
in Tennessee. I'm from
I'm sorry, in
Tennessee.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
and then you went to Atlanta,
Mhm.
and but you went beyond hair. You went into makeup and everything.
I
And
did.
and was that a result of all the different things you were doing with gospel artists?
Um, I got more into makeup, like, so I was always when I went to Atlanta, I was still a hairstylist, but I went and majored in interior design. So that was like an art institute. Um, oh, it wasn't art institute, but it was American Intercontinental. But for me as an artist, I had that's my background as well. So I'm very good with like colors and putting things together. So I could do it, but I didn't really know the like why behind it until like I really got into like design school and stuff. But once I got to LA in 2002, once I got to LA and started working on the film side, I started, sometimes there's a need for a hair and makeup artist. And so I started working more once I got into working in Hollywood.
So what moved you out of Georgia and sent you to Hollywood? What was that?
Um, Honestly, I went to my sister was in the military at the time. And so she was based in San Diego and needed some assistance for a little bit. And so I went out there and started working in a salon there. Um, but while I was there, I think it was the first week I was there. The salon was signed up to go to a class, I think it was called like a set class for like doing avant-garde. It was an avant-garde style. And so
Mhm.
the owner talked me into going. She's like, you should go and have fun, but I didn't know what to expect or anything. And so I went with them, but it was just a class. They had models. Every style's got to pick a model and team up with a makeup artist. And we end up doing a photo shoot. So it was a photo shoot at the end. And for some reason, the new girl came and the photographer just like loved my work or whatever. And um, basically, the rest was history. And the photographer would call me back on the weekends every weekend to come to LA and do models and do like editorial work. And the model that I happened to pick for that particular day happened to be a photographer as well. And so she was helping out, but I just liked the way her hair looked, and she was like, I could use a haircut. And so that particular class, the photo that came from that kind of took off and went viral. And so I ended up working for her and working for him, and the rest is history.
Oh my.
Yeah,
That's powerful.
yeah.
And so now I'm just curious. Were you able to use any of your interior design skills in the interim or
Absolutely. So when I was in Atlanta, I ended up doing a lot of event designs. I ended up being like a lead designer at, like for Closets by Design.
Hmm.
I end up doing like I collaborated with Lysol for like the Woman That I Lose conferences, and like did like their work with some of their set stuff, and you know, so that was like one of my biggest first accomplishments for that. But as far as my hair is concerned, I use an architectural style for hair. And so, yes, it does play into it a lot because that's my style of styling and sculpting. I use architectural design. So,
Well, now, okay, hold it, because I know that there are some listeners, there's some viewers who are trying to figure out who aren't into architecture, because maybe if they are, they understand this.
okay.
But how do you use architectural design for your style? Styling hair and cutting hair and sculpting hair.
It's sculpting. So it's like architecture is like the design of a building structure.
Hmm.
And interior design is a prerequisite to architect. So basically, we learn and do everything from blueprint to CAD design, drafting, uh, we lay out electricity. We know how to do just the building frame, everything. And so in that and just being an artist, I learned to work. I love the geometrical shapes of it in parts of it. And so I kind of like that's how I create when I'm doing hair and stuff. I kind of create in shapes.
I would think that somebody who wants to feel very comfortable with
Mhm,
themselves and the hair style that
mhm,
they end up with would appreciate that,
mhm,
because a lot of times people have experienced getting a new hairstyle but not necessarily liking it on
mhm,
themselves.
mhm.
So if you're using this architectural sculpting approach, that means that you're looking at their face shape, color, everything.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
That
Even when you're
that would
cutting
be a
though,
draw.
yeah, it's a lot of math, believe it or not, in hair designing because even when you're cutting at a 90-degree angle or a 60-degree angle. And so you're always, it's kind of like I have a really good friend that calls me like the Rain Man of hair. And so I'm always thinking, and like, those films you see with like the numbers that come up like Einstein, like the people are thinking
Right?
like
Yes.
that's kind of how I do hair when it comes to like, especially when I'm being creative. But just a regular cut or just even coloring, you have to be able to know the chemistry behind it and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, um, so as you and I connected and talked, there's more to what you do than that. So you moved from uh, working with photographers,
Mhm.
and the rest is history, but we want to know that history. um, what led you to start doing work for movies and films and videos, and how did that all that come about?
Well, a lot of times when when you start off working with photographers, a lot of times photographers are like multifaceted too. So they're, shooting for like behind the scenes or something. And it's, like, hey, Shanda, can I heard that they're looking for a hairstylist or makeup artist here. I thought about you, and it's kind of, then once you get on a roster or work with other artists, if you go in and do a good job, then they'll remember you and they'll always call you back. And so I just got, a lot of callbacks, and really that's kind of how it goes. And then you'll get like videos. And so, I think I want to say one of the first videos that I got to do was a Tisha Campbell video.
Oh,
So I got to work with Kim Kimball on that. So you know, I got to get in and work with some of the best and see, how they move and how they, work, and got to ask some of the best about, just pick their brain and just be in those spaces for that. So that's cool.
so as you're learning about them, all those little clouds that come out of your head are observing based on work and personality and all of that, what hairstyle is going to be right for them, right? Is that am I
Absolutely. Yes.
wow. This isn't work, occupation, or skill set for you. This is science. I mean, there's a science to what you're doing.
Yes. I would agree. I would
I
agree.
love that.
Me
Now,
too.
you I had mentioned earlier you have worked on a variety of films, Summer Rings and some other, but I mentioned Abbott Elementary and things like that. So tell us about that. Tell us how did you feel because I like that show and I know you've done other things. Brewster's Millions, a lot of people saw
Yeah.
that, but
So I actually started working with Quinta first. And
okay.
so a PR firm that I work with a lot, they called me one day to work with her. So I worked with Quinta before Abbott Elementary when she was on the Black Girls Sketch Show. And
Yeah.
so I got to work with her then, and then she started Abbott Elementary. And one of my other hairstylists in the industry, she works on that show. And so I got the opportunity to work on that show to work with some of the children. Um, they had a huge pep assembly like in the first season. And so that was fun to be on the Warner Brothers set and to just to be able to work on a set with so many talented artists and writers and stuff is definitely amazing.
I can only imagine. So
Yes.
I know you've done so much, but in the arena of that, especially film for television,
Hmm.
um, what's one of your most exciting moments that what memorable moments of working and with whom?
Um, let's see. I have worked with some amazing people. Bruce Millions holiday, Christmas holiday was really that was fun to work. Um, to be able to meet to work with Miss Telma and Romeo and Rain and Richard Price Jr. That was really exciting. I had a really good time working with Tashina Arnold. She's everything in person that you see on television.
Okay.
So it's never a boring moment
No,
working with her
no.
ever. So she's probably one of the funnest celebrities that I've got a chance to work with.
Okay.
But I've worked with a lot of amazing people.
Right. I
Yeah.
know. And I know that was a difficult question for to ask you to respond to,
Yeah.
but just curious,
Mhm.
how, well, so what is something that you have done that you would never have thought was going to happen? I mean, what are one of those moments that when you found out when you got the call or whatever, you were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this."
Um, I've had that moment a couple of times, just my work being on a jumbotron, which is pretty exciting. Um, and I would say working for Time Magazine. I got to do the reenactment of the Walk on Washington. They redone the whole I Have a Dream speech, the walk and the people and all of that. They were able to capture it on green screen and just redo every last person in that. That was fun. Because it was a huge time period piece.
Yes.
But a few years ago, I think it was during the pandemic, Time magazine, that was fun and really exciting.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. And that had to be a lot of work.
Yeah, it was, but it was fun and it was worth it.
So to do something like that, how much of your time does that involve?
Um, I think it was a couple of days. I don't remember it being like a week or anything. Um, but I just remember it being a lot of wigs, a
I
lot,
can
a
imagine.
lot of wigs. Um, but it was fun because it was a lot of kids too. I didn't realize there was so many kids on the march. A lot of people took their children
Yeah.
on Washington. But probably a couple of 12-hour days.
Phew.
Yeah,
But I'm sure it was a lot of fun, even though it
it
was a lot of
was.
work. Because and how great is that to recreate, right? To
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, for those of you who have just joined us, you're probably like me. You're so caught up in the show that you didn't remember you could call in or email. But for those of you who just joined us, you have been listening to our guest this evening, who is Lashanda Gatson, and she is the CEO and founder of LRG Model Agency. But on top of that, she also is a hair artist, an interior designer, and so much more. And I love the fact that she mentioned that she uses an architectural approach to her hair sculpting. And I am just intrigued. There are some things I know about her that we're going to have her talk about, but we're going to take a quick break before we come back and ask her that question. In the meantime, for those of you who have joined us, we want you to know you're invited to connect with us. So you can contact us at 781 384 5587, or you can email me, Regina at rgbinternetradio.com. We would love to hear from you. And so hang in there. We're going to take another quick word from another sponsor, and we will be right back.
Hi, my name is Anthony DePiro, and I'm an employee here at Sabatino Mastrocola Insurance Agency, where I've worked for about 6 years. Our agency is a full-service agency. We specialize in auto, home, flood, life, and other insurance needs. We have a registry running service. We offer professional claim assistance, and many other things that will help you throughout the process of getting new insurance. I mainly specialize in commercial insurance, such as apartments, restaurants, offices, contractors, retail, and things of that nature. But the rest of the team here also specializes in home, auto, and other lines. We merged with Mastrocola Insurance about 2 years ago, and we're proud to house them here at 519 Broadway along with our office, and we all work together to service your needs. Stop by anytime here at 519 Broadway, or give us a call at 617-387-7466, or visit our website at www.sabatino-ins.com.
And we are back with our guest tonight, Lashanda Gatson. And you mentioned before we took the break that you worked with children
Mm.
and you had a major project with children. And I would love for you to share that project because it is absolutely amazing. And it's a good reason for them to go to your website and see those pictures.
I did a project that was loosely based and reimagined from all of your favorite princesses or our favorite princesses that we grew up to love and adore. Um, and I reimagined them, but Black. And so it was stemmed out of, growing up and just Black representation. And I was just like, I wonder what this, be like. And so it started off as a hair story. And I've got some amazing designers from across the world to join me in my vision and making my vision come to life. And so I created some princesses, and they are named after gemstones. So my princesses, they are not any damsels in distress. They're no damsels. They are healers, actually. And so they heal according to their gemstone name. And so I created that, and they went pretty viral a few times. And people like Disney discovered them and reposted them in People magazine. And it just was really popular and got a lot of great feedback from children and parents around the world, teachers. And it was just a well needed project. And I'm pretty grateful for that.
Well, I want to encourage um, those of you listening when Lashanda shares her website information with you, and it's not hard at all. But when she does, you need to write it down and store it, and then go on that website and see it. Because I have to tell you, I was totally mesmerized with the hairstyles, the clothing that was created, and all of that came out of you. And the fact that you they're and in case we have people who aren't quite sure what she's talking about, these are Black children, Black girls who uh, Lashanda has given them a princess look that is absolutely amazing. And I love the fact that they all are associated with a particular gemstone, and that each of those princesses are healers, but they heal based on what their gemstone is all about. I mean, that's a story all unto itself. And so, my question to you is, do you have an illustrator? Is somebody going to make a
It's
okay?
already done. It's already done. And so I recently got picked up by Christian Publishing Book Company to put that out. And so I'm looking forward to doing that soon.
I am so happy to hear
Yeah.
that, because when I saw the pictures, I kept saying that, what movie were they in initially? They had to have been in a movie. I can tell you, if you're into fairy tale movies, but and probably I should say more so into the type that are that Harry Potter kind of um type, where what you see is not the norm, you have to look at these because they will blow your mind. I have an email here that says, "Good evening, Lashando. What you do sounds fascinating and multifaceted. Do you mentor in any parts of the work that you do, or do you consider taking on interns or understudies? The thought of taking on a new role, even if on a part-time or intern basis, appeals to me, especially if I can learn something unique or new. Thoughts?"
I absolutely do. I do. I mentor, I go to and teach at beauty colleges. And I teach actually around internationally. I do a lot of work with students, cosmetology students. And so, yeah, I would be interested in that. Yes, I do that.
Okay. So
Mhm.
for the person who sent that in, I hope you heard the answer is yes. Yes, she does. I have another one that says, what is it that when you close your eyes at night to go to sleep, what is the last thing on your mind with regard to all of your skill sets? Do you go to sleep thinking about hair? Do you go to sleep thinking about interior design? Do you go to sleep thinking about models? What's the last thing on your mind?
It's a
I like that one.
hodgepodge. It's a soup, just like all the things that you named. It's insane. It depends on what I'm working on. So, and it's always like the tabs are always open. So it really just depends on what I have going on next. I try to focus on what I have to do next. So yeah,
Okay. I
yeah,
hope you get good night's sleep because it sounds like you're doing a lot of rewarding things.
yeah. Sleeping. I'm working on the sleeping part. I am.
And just in case, for those of you who are watching, I can tell you, Lashanda lives on the West Coast. She is now, right now, she just got in to the East Coast. So I know she's doing a time adjustment and a lot of other things, and probably a little bit of weather adjustment as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So that leads me to when you talked about the children and you used the word representation, and I understand because the fairy tale books and the children's stories, um, the princesses were never princesses of color, right? As a matter of fact, I loved it when they redid the Princess and the Frog to
Mhm.
actually, even though it's animated, to
Yeah.
actually, and the same thing they did with the Little Mermaid, right? They
Hmm.
changed up on the
Hmm.
cultural aspects of it, the diversity. But why the representation was the representation at the children's level because that's where they start noticing there's none that look like me, or are you doing something similar at the adult level?
Um, of course I am.
Just
Of course I am. Of course I am. I had recently someone talked to me about a villain collection with our Golden Girls. So more mature ladies. I think that would be pretty cool.
oh, I do too.
I think that would be pretty
Okay,
cool.
now
But the book is illustration, so I got away from, so it's more like it can be more of a series type of book, and then concentrate on each character type of thing, and it's uh, categorized as science, as a matter of fact, and early learner.
okay,
It
okay,
is.
I'm on the right track.
You are.
So that leads me to, as we talk about adults and children, that leads me to your model agency. What
Mhm.
prompt what was the impetus for doing that? What motivated you to do that? Was there this moment that you said, I need to do this because, or it just happened by accident? You're an entrepreneur. I know it can't be by accident,
A
but
lot more of the same thing, the representation. We often, it's California, it's just like, it's not a lot of Black people there. It's like 6% California, and less than that in LA, and like a pea size in Hollywood. And so um, every now and then, I would get models, but I would see the difference, and just the conversation in my chair of like maybe the pay. It could be the same project. It can be two different models, and I would hear it over and over again. the type of opportunities that that one would get and the other would not get.
Hmm. So when
Sorry about that.
okay. So when you started LRG, everyone knows, in case they don't,
Mhm.
that's her initials. Okay. Um, were you looking for new models? Were you looking at people who are trying to get into modeling, people who are in modeling but haven't become the well-knowns yet, or is this just, oh, I saw this person and I said I'd love to have you model for me?
I actually I was working with I always wanted to work with children, but I ended up working with adults first by accident because I would work with this one model all the time, and I would kind of like I guess I didn't realize I was advocating for her um a bit because I just seen her, getting taken advantage of. And it started with her asking me, and then um other people noticing and stuff like, can you help me? And then it just took off. And then during COVID, during the pandemic, when we were sitting down, I had more time to like harness and go in and develop it more. And so it just took off faster than I thought. But it was like no kids and like all adults. And I was just like, wait, wait a minute, and that's, how it basically got started. Um, just being an extra eye and ear and wanting to be able to um, be a voice for people that don't know any better or know what to look for.
Right, because
Mhm.
when I saw that you're not only recruiting or scouting, you're developing them, you're helping them be more poised, whatever it is,
Yes.
and you're also, you're representing them for not just runway opportunities, not just modeling clothes and going down, turning, coming back, but for commercials, for editorial, for magazines, in other words. And y- that's that's great because you're not pigeonholing them.
No, no, I don't. As a matter of fact, I've had some that I had a particular model that she came to me probably November of last year. No, it was like August of last year because she ended up, I sent her to, in a very short time, she ended up doing New York Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week, Miami, and Vegas Fashion Weeks. And she got picked up by a major modeling company just instantly. And I wasn't going to hold her back from that because, they have bigger opportunities than I had. And I was excited for her. And that's what we want. You want to be able to teach them how to navigate in this industry because it can be very cutthroat. And you want to be able to know what you're doing and to negotiate for yourself. And so that's kind of where I come in at. And so if what I do help you get to the level that you want, then my job is done.
Well, I think that in itself is selfless, but
Mhm.
it has to be awfully rewarding and satisfying, especially when you see someone that you've worked with and exhibits all this potential, and for someone to take notice of that
Yeah,
speaks volumes to your training and your developing and working with these individuals and how you promote them.
right.
Uh, so is there anything we missed in terms of what else you do? Because we've covered, there's models, there's film, television, all of that, stage, and you're a makeup artist, you're a hair artist, hair sculptor, you're an interior designer, and you teach. We didn't
Great.
even talk about that. You teach, right?
Yeah.
At community colleges and hair schools and
I teach platform artistry. So I work with a lot of the major natural hair care brands. So I've traveled and I've taught in London. I've taught in Paris. And so I've worked in Amsterdam. So I love what I do. And I love to teach other like hairstylists and stuff that they can do a lot more outside of the salon. A lot of people just only get, think about that or get pigeonholed into that space. But there's so much you can do with your talent, and when you get tired of that, you can just pivot, and
Mhm.
that's the great part about being a creative.
Well, it's good that you said that because this question says, have you ever given thought to moving overseas or elsewhere in the world? Be, do you think there's more opportunities for you, especially with diversity and culture being ramped up the way you do it, or do you see all the potential is better in the U.S.?
I would love to move like now. Yes, I would love to do that, and
Where would you go?
I think I want to go to Ghana, and Ghana has a Gollywood. It's like a Gollywood or something like that. So yeah, and
Ghana?
then they have a big film industry in television and editorial, and then they work closely with Nigeria, and they have a huge. So that would be cool. That would be cool. South Africa has a huge film industry too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, uh, that's well. First of all, I think you've just educated all of us paying attention, and
Hmm.
whether we're listening
Hmm.
or viewing, to know that. And because in this country, it's one coast or the other, right?
Yep, it is.
Unless you're unless you're into a particular style of music like country western, then you're going to Memphis, right? Or Nashville,
Nashville.
right? And that's where it's going to happen.
Hmm.
But so I was waiting to see, were you going to say France, Italy, Portugal, something like that, and you took us over to Africa, and I think that's awesome because I think we part of the lack of representation is we don't know all the things that are happening, and you're talking about a Gollywood and Ghana Wood or whatever, and really.
Hmm. And
Now, I do know
very
that,
progressive too.
yep, I
Yeah.
do know in the International Film Festival, I pay attention to the countries
Hmm.
that put films out there,
Hmm.
and just so that if they ever get out in a place where I can watch them myself, I can see some. But that's interesting, and
Hmm.
you're ready to go. I I could tell
Absolutely.
you're packed already. Tell,
Yes, I'm sitting on G, waiting on the O.
waiting on the O.
Yes.
Tell us about because a lot of us have no clue what goes on in hair artistry or makeup world. Tell us
Mhm.
about the International Bang Style Supreme Hairstylist Award.
It is Bang Style is actually a magazine, and it's a hairstylist magazine, and it's kind of like the architectural digest of like hair in a way. And so Bang Style scout out the best of the best all over the world. Or, and so you just kind of battle it out of whatever photo or whatever that has been submitted. And yeah, yeah.
So,
And there's some amazing, amazing artists. I mean, there's been years that I haven't won, but I'm I'm grateful for those. It's a big, it's a big deal.
well,
It's
like I,
not as big as like well, no, that's a international. But one day I said I was going to try the NAHA Awards. It's like a yeah, it's the National Hairstylist
mhm.
Awards. Yeah. But I haven't did it yet. I have a lot of people ask me about it, but I think I overthink it because I would want to build like the Empire State Building on somebody's head or something. So I have to know when to fold them.
And again, I don't know all of your creative work, but I do know what I saw when I looked at those young girls, those princesses. And all I thought of was the creativity, the imagination. It was beyond what anything I would have been able to think of on my own. And so I can imagine if you're, but this is international.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, if they saw those little girls, I understand.
The thing about that shoot though, the best part about it was behind the scenes because each one of those 14 girls felt like a princess. And that was a long day. It was 2 days actually. And those girls, when they got finished shooting, they sat around and they wanted to wear their dresses and watch all the other girls and play and their parents. And it was such a magical day. And because of them, it just came out amazingly. So, because they were all in and everything they just gave me beyond what I imagined. So it was awesome.
So where do the does this award show take place? Where does this pageantry for the
Well, Bang style is just it's just your work the best of your work from that year. And they just, it's like a judge that just kind of, yeah.
okay, so you
Yeah,
don't have
the
to go
award
some
show that I'm talking about, like the NAHA, is usually held in Vegas, I think.
oh yeah, yeah, that I know. Okay,
Mhm.
so you're not traveling, you're submitting and then
For that,
judges
yes.
are doing the
Yeah,
evaluating.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And what did you do to be chosen as the most creative stylist for the Orange County Fashion Week?
I done recreated the Queen of Hearts. So I reimagined the Queen of Hearts, and the Queen had a red afro um,
Yeah.
hairstyle that was in a heart. It was pretty dope. So that was cool. And the theme was, I think, Alice down the rabbit hole or something. So it was like a Alice in Wonderland theme. And so it's whatever you wanted to contribute to that. And so I gave it to
I'm sure you did. I am sure you did.
him.
Um, and then this is just personal. What was it like working with Olivia Rodrigo for the music videos?
Oh, that was a fun day. That was a fun day. It was so cool. Um, I like working on that set because it was just like it was all female. So it was just fun. It was just fun, and we got to play because it was a bridal company there. So it was that particular video, she had all these brides in it, and so it was just fun 'cause I got to do wedding hair all day and just create. So, and she
Oh,
was, yeah, it was really nice.
so you gave us a little hint about the Golden Girl, Black elderly women thing that may be coming, that we'll be seeing, and this though is they're going to be villains or superheroes or whatever, but and that'll be in an illustrated book. They're going to be illustrations. They're not going to be actual people, right?
No, that'll be a shoot.
Oh, okay.
The book that I was telling you about,
Hmm.
that's illustrated.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that series.
so I know I shouldn't ask, but I'm going to. What's next? Before
Um,
you move to Ghana.
then I don't know. Well, I have to get this. I definitely have to get this book out, and that's what
Mhm.
I'm working on at the moment. Yeah.
So a lot of these emails says, "What's her website?" I googled her. I found her website. So they want tell her to tell everybody the website. So
My website is lashandagatson.com. It's LACHANDAGATSON. Instagram is like Lashanda G Artistry. It's pretty
oh,
easy. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So say those again because we have people.
LashandaGatson.com. And Lashanda G Artistry. Or Lashanda Gatson Artistry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you heard it. LashandaGatson.com and Lashanda G at Artist.
Artistry. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that you can find her on Instagram and find her on the web. And I think when you go to her website, you are going to be amazed. Either way, whichever one you pick, you will be amazed
Yeah.
because you truly are an amazing woman.
Thank you.
Um, I am hoping that the time change you'll be able to catch up before you head back out to the West Coast. Sleep all the way so you'll be
I
okay when
know.
you get there.
I know.
But I want to thank you. You
Thank you.
have lived an amazing life already, and you're doing incredible things.
Thank
And
you.
again, that's benefiting others, that's bringing beauty into the world, that's helping people feel good about themselves and what they represent. And that in itself, and you've also crossed and let the children see representation of what could be,
Yeah.
what should be, and actually, especially with regard to Africa and its history, what was. And so I we wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Thank you.
And if you have any last things you want to say, feel free to do that now. I just want to thank you, Lashanda, for being here because you are indeed a winning woman.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be on your show. And thank you for having me.
Well, we're glad you came. For those of you who have been watching the show this evening, thank you for taking time out of your day, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time zone you're in, to spend time with us on the Winning Women Talk Show. If you have enjoyed this show, we want to remind you that there are other shows that you can find on RGB Internet Radio and on if you like these live shows on Monday nights at 8 o'clock, you can watch or listen to Talk Time, which is a show that focuses on local, regional, national, and international current affairs and news and highlights those things that everybody's talking about. It's a great show, and you get to call in and bring your comments and thoughts to the table. On Sundays, for those of you who are getting into the worship mood early in the morning, 6:30 to 8:30, you can listen. This is a listen on the radio. Listen to Sunday Morning Glory with Bishop Robert G. Brown, and he brings you into a hallelujah good time, 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. in the morning, so you can get ready and get out to church. And on Saturdays, if you like old school music, Saturdays is oldies but goodies on RGB Internet Radio. But you can listen to DJ Bobby B, who's going to take you way back. His show is called Let's Go Back, and you get to go back and call in and say, play this tune, and he will do it. So there's more. You can find out more on rgbinternetradio.com. But thank you for being with us this evening. We've got to go. See you next week, same time, same place. And don't forget, love somebody. And that's us from the Winning Women Talk Show. Thank you for spending time with us today.